Brad Phillips again. Look at this Avanti 90. It's amazing. All new from FMS. 18th anniversary. Interesting livery. This will be like my 6th or 7th flight. Had really good luck. Hopefully you're seeing it for the first time and love it too. Stay tuned. Yeah. AS3X Plus equipped. Here we go, guys. Takeoff flaps down. And no, it is not calm. Guys, the AS3X Plus makes this thing feel locked in. 60% throttle, 50C pack, 5000 6S Spectrum Smart Pack. Inside pass. Yes! Gotta say, this thing is flying dang good. Feels easy on the sticks, and look at the windsock, guys. A little bit of tail flutter. Let's see a stall turn. Oh my goodness, that was delicious, delectable. Jank it. Finally got it to do a high-speed stall on one wing. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Watch these barn doors. A little bit of throttle, inside pass again. Look at this. Hard on the throttle, just over the tree line. We're gonna come around the other way this time. High-speed pass. No complaints from our pack so far. I did change my alarm a little bit. Full landing flaps on the way downhill, gear coming out. 6-second deployment speed. Okay, out of the flaps, out of the gear. Didn't even have them fully deployed, that's crazy. Okay guys, check out this line. I love this line. Don't often get to share it, takeoff flaps. There it is, guys. That's a cool line. Camera crew, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Stay where you are.
Okay.
Get your airspeed live. Thank God for the clouds, right?
Yep.
Jank it. Guys, look at those ups. Beautiful clouds, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous. Listen to scream. No throttle pass. As we passed by, I engaged the throttle. Went full throttle. Jank it. Take off flaps. Get it flying. Okay, so that's our alarm. 3 minutes of flight time. We've had about 40% or so. I'm actually gonna take a different spot. You stay where you are, camera crew.
Okay.
Landing flaps coming out. Excuse me, takeoff flaps and gear. Gear are slow on this. Okay, landing flaps now. Should be no problem to get that thing to the ground now. Got a little bit of flare. Guys, talk about squeezing out every inch of runway. And that's how you do it when you're really pushing the issue. I just want you guys to see that is a full runway landing. That's why we want to extend it another 100 feet, because when you get into the bigger jets, even with a heavier crosswind, and you could see that turbulation right there, this Avanti cuts through it like butter when equipped with AS3X Plus. And I gotta say, the stabilizer on the nose wheel is unsurpassed in its performance. I can't believe how big of an improvement it is. And it makes me feel better since I had to update like 20 receivers. So very, very, very happy with the performance on this plane. We technically have about a minute over our 3-minute flight timer, and our voltage will recover. I'm assuming we have about 35% left on this pack. I don't push the issue on jets, and here's why. If you push the issue on jets, you end up with crash jets. Because I use thrust reverse, as you can tell from the extra, what would you call that, about 3 feet? Sorry, man inches.
I was gonna say, who's measuring that?
I would say that is a pretty amazing performance. And full thrust reverse, pilot fatigue, if you don't know how this works, that's pilot fatigue, okay? So pilot fatigue is where it goes full throttle in reverse thrust. This is controllable reverse thrust, where I can use the stick to actually control it. And so that has nothing to do with the AS3X Plus, it just has to do with the Predator ESC. And I gotta say, unusual to FMS is a Predator ESC that has been reliable enough to work on, wait for it, every single landing to date. There's been 3 off camera, which is very unusual for us. So I think we did 2 or 3.
We did 2.
We did 2. This will be 3 on camera. And I did 3 off camera. That was between our flights, okay? So normally we don't do that. You guys see all the very much virgin flights. And I'm just trying to get a feel for this. And I wanted something with clouds, because look at this beautiful cloud cover. It really helps to show the speed, performance, and everybody wants to see the penetration. And if you can't see the penetration, then what's the point? This Avanti is so much fun. You guys will really enjoy it. Here's my fear, okay? You're not gonna order one, and you're gonna say, in like 3 days, you're gonna say like, Brian, why didn't you tell me to order it? Because it's out of stock now and I wanted one. It's not often that we take a position of the hard sale, but I'm gonna tell you this right now, buy from the links today. If you think you want it, order it, get it. Otherwise, you probably won't. It's the God's honest truth. FMS does a few things really good, like building nice quality airplanes and surprising us with unforeseen changes in schedule. But what they aren't necessarily always good at is planning for logistical nightmares of a very hot topic item. I think this is gonna be it. 90mm Avanti S, you want it. Yes, I thought the trim livery looked like a square body truck from the 1970s, and it did make me puke in my mouth a little bit when I first saw it. But I'm gonna tell you this, the first time you see this in a sunset, this is not a sunset, that's when the sun goes over there. We're gonna try to get a flight on it. But watching the gold change from bright yellow to orange and then back because of that metallic sheen is awesome. And it really looks good, and it has presence in the sky. I also want to tell you this, and again, off camera, I was filming because my wife was busy taking care of familial duties. This thing looks really good in the sunset. So I'm hoping you guys get to see it firsthand on Brian Phillips RC for the flights. But even if you don't, you can, and always can, take my word for it on this detail. The Avanti S is a high quality, easy build, feature packed, explosive energy, great flying as prescribed by the AS3X Plus setup in the Unbox Build Radio setup on Brian Phillips RC that you're gonna find in this price point, okay? It's not cheap, it's not expensive, it's just right where it needs to be. FMS makes a mean jet. And even with the problems that we have sometimes on the logistics of these things, this plane performs and it does a really nice job of it, okay? You won't buy this and regret it. You're gonna buy it and wish you'd bought 2, okay? So here's what you are gonna regret. If you didn't order it and you wait a week and they're sold out. And since this is an 18th anniversary, which, who cares? Nobody. Then all I'm gonna say is this, you're gonna want it. Now, I don't know if they're gonna come out with a livery that's not 18th anniversary, but if you think back to the 75th anniversary, I'm just joking, it's not the 75th anniversary, but it looks like it is the 15th anniversary Viper. That would be an alternative that you'd be looking at. They kept that livery, but I wouldn't even get that one, I'd get the E-Flight one because it has soft tires.
Yeah.
So guys, I love this plane. It does everything I want it to do, and it does a really good job of being built. 11 pieces, including the manual, which can be basically ignored on this plane because it's that easy to build.
It was.
You'll have to look at what the lengths of the screws are, and we'll talk about it. We did have 4 mysterious screws. We're not sure what they're for. I think they're for the thrust vectoring option, which you can buy a thrust vectoring option. The answer to your question is no, I won't be reviewing that because that's not my flying style. And I'm also not generally known to fly on high volt packs, but we do have another pack that's coming soon. We were hoping to debut it with this. It didn't show up in time, so not sure if you guys are gonna see that as part of one of our videos, but just check the links. If you're ever curious what pack, what transmitter, what receiver we recommend, which we use an 8360T on this, and we used all the channels, guys.
Yep.
And then we used more because there's more stuff going on now. Also, there's sequencing that you couldn't do before that you can do now. There's also logical decisions you can make on switch conditions, which is awesome. So like if you want to have something happen, but only when the landing flaps are deployed and AS3X is on, then you can do that. Or I only want this to happen when AS3X is off and the flaps are in takeoff flap. You can do that now. Beautiful, huge, perfect. Okay, wonderful plane. You guys are gonna like it a lot. I made my top and bottom white light flash. Hate the flashing nav lights. Totally foolishness. Never make flashing nav lights. I don't care if it's a fake sport jet. I need to be able to see it. I'm a human being, okay? Flashing lights are cool for like show. And if you're watching a full scale plane go by with flashing lights, congratulations. I'm not flying it from the ground. This one I am. Keep them on. This is a discussion I wish I didn't ever have to have again. And you guys are probably with me. It's all fine and dandy for fun toys, but this plane is a pretty fast jet and it is most definitely not a toy, okay? So make those things stay on. And by the way, if you want to make them solid, you can, but you have to dig way out into the wing. It's a huge pain in the butt. I'm not doing it, okay? To make the top and bottom and a collision beacon, which would normally be red, these are white. They are flashing. You can switch them to solid, very easy. We'll show it in the unbox build radio setup. There is a little sequencing and it is cool. It goes on. Okay, so it's like on. It's got a delay. So it's pretty cool. Or you can have them both on at the same time, both on at the same time, both off at the same time. Just depends on how you plug in the JST connector. All right, so thoughts on the power. Tons of power, power on demand, and noisy. Noisy means inefficient, and that's true. But noisy also means invigorating. Noisy means sounds like a jet, but it's not, okay? So I'm not gonna beat them up too much on that, but it kind of reminds me of a plane we flew, and I'm trying to think of the name. Dang it, I can't think of it right now. The one that we flew, the X-Fly one, that was so noisy, the Cirrus.
Yeah.
Is it Sirius or the Cirrus?
No, it's a Sirius.
It's a Sirius.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sirius.
Red, white, and blue.
That thing was so loud and obnoxious and super energy efficient. Battery chewer from hell. Okay, watch this, guys. You want to talk about battery chewers? This thing's not one of them. Look at that, brand new pack, no issues, no puff. Now, all three other packs that I'm flying on this plane, oh yeah, they're puffed.
But that's not this plane's fault.
But that's not this plane's fault. That's the J11 and SU-27. It's fault.
Also a good reason to respect your timer. I mean...
Yeah, well, no. That's because it's a twin 70.
Yeah.
Twin 70s are battery kills. In fact, my opinion would be make room for 2 packs, get over it, manufacturers, make room for 2 packs, be done with it. 1 ESC, 1 battery. That's the way I want to see it from now on. If it was up to me, which I know it's not, and they're not listening. So if there's 2 ESCs, 2 motors, if they're prop driven, go ahead and share a battery. That's fine. But if you're talking about twin EDFs, just please, just give us one place to plug in a battery, steal the BEC power for the servos and everything off of the primary pack. The second pack runs the other EDF. Or better yet, give us a 3rd battery plug and we'll throw in like a 2200 3S or something for controls. So really, that's what we need, because you just get too much draw, too much load, in my opinion, unless you're running high volt packs and big ones, okay? And I do like big ones. All right, so the Avanti S, 90 millimeter, leaves nothing in the tank. I'm just gonna say it is very good. It will do grass hops and it does all right. In fact, one of my first landings, I touched down here, ended up on the runway and it was gorgeous and couldn't even tell it happened, okay? Rock hard tires, notwithstanding, it still does the job. Over time, they're gonna wear in a little bit. They'll be a little bit softer, but they're still too hard. Give us soft tires, please. Complaint number 2, okay? So flashing LEDs, softer tires, please. If that's the 2 complaints you have on a plane, oh, square body paint, I was proven wrong on that.
And that's very much a personal preference.
It is, absolutely. I would have liked to see white, gold, and black. If I was gonna do that, that'd be cool. I would have rather seen white, black, and red, and I would have been okay with that too. But you know what? Now that I've seen it flying and I've seen it change colors through the sweep of like a stall turn or something, I kind of really like it. It's cool looking. So that being said, the Avanti 90 hits on all the check boxes that I really need in a sport jet. And that is, it does what it does it well, it doesn't make me scared like it's gonna fall out of the sky every time I pull back on the stick hard. But I did find a high-speed tendency to stall, a high-speed stall tendency. When you jank on the sticks, you can get into a washout and cause it to tip. But you know what? That's under the highest G loading I could do with it. The thing lands good, it takes off good, it does everything, and I set nothing for my flap mix. So the flap system, the compensation, nothing, okay? And we'll go over all this in the unbox build radio setup, but I forgot to set it, and guess what? You don't need it. This wing type evidently doesn't care. So if you wanna make it tip down and have a little bit more nose down attitude for landings, that's fine, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it with this. And I feel like where the battery is, it's golden. It's a great starting point. If you wanna hear how we did the setup for AS3X Plus, I had to upgrade my firmware here and my firmware there, as well as a bunch of other receivers that we have ready to go for the next planes. We'll show you exactly how to do it. If you're here to just learn about AS3X Plus, we're gonna parse out that part of the video and make another video for you to watch and enjoy and consume. Keep in mind, every plane is a little bit different, okay? But they're not so different that you can't follow the setup on this one and use it as a basis to get you started. Because here on Brian Phillips RC, we're all about getting you out of the chair and into the air, whether you're coming back to the hobby from a hiatus or you're just getting into the hobby. If you're just getting into the hobby and you buy this plane, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's too much for you to handle unless you're one of these freakish 6-year-olds that can fly $25,000 jets at Joe Knoll, okay? And there's a few of you, like 4 of you in the world.
Yeah.
If you're watching, thanks for watching. So I'll stand corrected on those 4 people in the human race.
If you're anyone else.
Where are we looking?
Oh, he's straight up, he's under the clouds.
Oh, on the other side of clouds?
He's on the other side of clouds.
So Brian Phillips RC, the only place that stops for full-scale air traffic. And by the way, if you guys are curious to see, you've probably already seen it.
Yep.
We had a Cessna P-172D that landed right back there on that hill. And so special thanks to those that helped make that happen. You can watch the video right now. It's already released, right?
Yes.
What was it?
I don't know.
Oh, that looks like a Pilatus.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, that's cool. It went right through
right
the cloud.
through the clouds. Yeah.
So guys, if you want to help make my dreams come true, all you have to do is watch these videos, smash the like button, and come back for more. But then if you want to help support us financially, here's 4 or 5 things you could do. 1, buy planes from the links. That's the #1 way you can support us financially. You win, we win, the manufacturers win. Everybody, it closes the loop, all right? Everybody wins. That's the key, okay? Now, if you don't want to buy this particular plane, head to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me. It takes you to the same place. You can compare and contrast this up against one of its principal competitors, the 90mm Viper. Very good E-flite offering made by FMS, okay? I'm telling you right now, if you're flip of the coin between the two, I'm still gonna lean toward Viper. But if you already have the Viper and you want an Avanti, guess what? Now you can have it. That's not to take anything away from the Avanti. That's not to take anything away from the Viper. They're 2 different jets, 2 different purposes, except they're the same. You want a jet, and it's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna be a sport jet. I like the way the Viper flies really well. I like the way this flies really well. Both are gonna slip out from under you if you get too slow on landing. Both are gonna have high-speed stall tendencies. Both are 90 millimeters and amazing. I mean, of course, you can get 70s on this. You can get 80. I wish they'd have an 80 Viper. That'd be sweet. But if you're in the 80 size class, just go for the Futura. It's amazing, really good middle ground. But the 70 Avanti performs about the same as an 80 Futura, really. But I like the Futura better than the 70 Avanti. Just so you guys know. Again, a lot of preference slipping out from Brian Phillips RC today. We were telling you the ways you can support us. Also Patreon, monthly support, PayPal, one-time donations, lowest fee structure there, by the way. So more of the money you support comes to us.
Friends and family.
And then YouTube super thanks, one-time donations, YouTube members. Thanks for being a member. That's a monthly support thing. We appreciate all of them, but the best is to buy planes because we want you in the air with us and not just watching us live this wonderful life, okay? Those are things you can do right now. They're actionable, and you're gonna have a good life if you help us to help you, because we're gonna keep bringing out awesome, amazing, otherwise free of charge content here. The only thing that's not free of charge on Brian Phillips RC is the fact that you're gonna want another plane, okay? Which is most definitely not free of charge. But you're gonna love it anyway, and we're gonna help get you where you need to be. And remember, we don't do the fastest, bestest, cheapest. That's a waste of your time, and it's lies from the devil. We're here to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. This plane is good. I am truthful with that. I don't say planes are good unless they're good. That is an opinion-based thing, but empirically, this is a good plane. It's gonna do everything you want, it's gonna do a good job of it, and it's gonna come in at about the right price point. You won't regret buying it, and you're gonna wanna have another one. So, those are things that usually measure a good plane. Does that mean it's better than the Viper? That's a toss of a coin, you know, flip of a coin. It's your total preference, but you're not gonna be disappointed. Camera crew, what do you think of this thing in the air?
It looks great in the air.
Okay.
I like it. I like the red. The gold is still a little, it's growing on me.
Yeah, but you gotta see it in sunset.
In the air, it's cool.
I think it's sweet when it changes its angle and the gold fleck. I mean, obviously all the bugs like it.
Yeah, they do.
So, and also I gotta say the pilot looks good. He has like a massive mustache.
Yeah. It looks impressive. It sounds impressive.
Right. And also if you get a good cloud backdrop, it's easier to keep in focus too, right?
Yes, for sure.
So forgive us, when we're flying in blue skies like the first two flights, it makes it near impossible. So obviously we have an amazing camera crew here in Maiden. But at the end of the day, there's still some components of filming in bright blue skies that are difficult to control. All right, if you have questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. We'll do our best to address them as we see our opportunities. If you're thinking about getting this for grass ops, you're gonna be totally fine with it. It does have pretty hard gear, so you're not gonna care about the soft gear like we do because we fly off of a hard surface. Also, I feel like this thing comes in, it'll let you fly down, it'll let you fly, but even if you flare, it doesn't bite quite as hard as sometimes I felt like the Viper maybe bit. It doesn't bite as quick, okay? Which is surprising because it's just, you know, with those winglets on the Viper, you think you would get some help from that in my opinion, but this thing does a really nice job.
After the first flight, I was nervous because it's a big jet. I knew it was going to be fast. It covers a lot of ground. We do not have a lot of ground to land on. But after watching that first landing.
And those huge barn doors.
Yeah.
Guys,
it's amazing.
It has so much drag and it just keeps flying.
Yeah.
That's what's beautiful about it. It's like all the things that they told us about, what's the other plane?
The Integral?
Yeah, I was trying to forget it. The Integral.
Sorry.
It's like all the things they told us about the Integral except delivering.
Right. Yeah.
So if you guys really like the Integral, I don't mean to beat anybody up here, but it was not one of my favorites. I actually grew to like it a little bit more after I flew it a few times. But the thing is, this thing flies so much better and so much easier and so much more reliably. And it's just an experience that I want to have, okay? If this was parked on a shelf and the Integral was parked here, it would just have like dust like 3 inches thick. And I'd be flying this thing.
Yeah.
A lot opinion, lot subjective, but I'm gonna tell you what, I really like it. And I think you guys will too. All right, we answered all your questions, we hope. Stay tuned, or rather, check out the Unbox Build radio setup. It should be available right now. And if all you need is the AS3X Plus setup, firmware updates in the AR 8360T, we'll show you exactly how to do it to go from what we had was 2.38 to version 2.48, then to the subsequent version 2.XX to 3.XX conversion file, then to the 3.13, which is AS3X Plus, the first version of AS3X Plus. So we'll show you how to do that. And it sounds very complicated. If you're not computer savvy, don't worry, we'll break it down so you can just follow step by step by step. And that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC, because we know a lot of you guys at the end of the day just need help getting started. And once you get rolling downhill, it's like a snowball. It's just gonna take care of itself. And by the way, first time you do the AS3X Plus, it's only a couple extra steps. It's really not too bad, but that steerable nose wheel, or I don't know how it's gonna work on the tail wheel, but this thing has a delay. When you put the gear out, it waits till it's down and locked to turn, and you get to designate how long. So I think I have mine set to 6-second delay because these gear take a long time to come out, which is, you would think it's a complaint, but it's totally not because it looks so dang sweet. Just remember, if you need to land in 4 seconds, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So have them out early. All right, that's all we got for you. Avanti S, amazing 90mm 18th anniversary version. Check it out. Don't overdrive your flap servos. We'll show you exactly how to avoid that in our unbox build radio setup too, because the way they park these flaps, you can overdrive them. And we've heard some people that were giving advice were giving bad advice. I don't know. We don't mean to beat up our competitors on YouTube, but the truth is we were asked to wait. So we did, and here we are. Hopefully you didn't burn out your servos in the meantime. You can thank FMS if that happens. In fact, hit them up. See if they'll send you a couple free ones. That's exactly what I would do. Thanks, FMS. Good planning. Thumbs up. 2 of them. Yep. That was the wrong finger. Anyway, thanks. Come back for more. So much. Well, I shouldn't say so much more right around the corner because we're out here, but there is literally so much right around the corner
Behind
for
us.
Brian Phillips RC.
Yeah.
We have content coming out, the pours. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. So stay tuned and be part of this RC experience. Come back for more. The infamous Brian Phillips 90mm Avanti from FMS. Amazing AS3X Plus. First go around for Brian Phillips RC. We got a few flights for you on this. Hopefully you enjoy them. We're gonna get set and come right back. Throttle cut off, takeoff flaps deployed. Here we go. Gear up. Look at that rock solid turn, guys. AS3X Plus has this thing locked in. Stalling it out at the top, bringing it downhill. Kids are swimming in the back, so I figured I'd give them an upside down pass. Takeoff flaps. Guys, AS3X Plus, I thought was gonna be lame-o. No big O. Turned out to be pretty awesome. Guys, look how locked in it is at that slow speed. And look at the power. 90mm gives you some good power. It's not unlimited, but it's pretty dang good. And this isn't a high volt pack. Outside pass. Yeah, baby! Janking it. Oh yeah, that's cool. Let it regain its composure, and then fly right out of it. I don't know if you could tell this, camera crew.
Yeah.
The string on your shirt that closes your hoodie
Yeah.
went up when that happened. That was cool. Look how rock solid stuff is. I wasn't even given any rudder input. Let's just do a nice relaxed out of throttle pass here. Takeoff flaps through the beautiful sunset. Watch the gear, slow action. 1 minute time remaining. Look at this pass, guys. Out of the gear, out of the flaps, right by the trees. Janking it around here. Right over the top of the hacienda. Landing flaps, watch this slow pass. Oh yeah! And the AS3X Plus saves the day for any lack of skills. Here, takeoff flaps. See that bird going after it?
Mm-hmm.
Out of pilot fatigue. Guys, that's why we love it. That's why we love it.
Get over it.
Nice, greasy, delicious landings, shooting through holes the size of cars with planes going 100 miles an hour. What more can you ask for from an Avanti 90? Beautiful sunset. I told you the gold looked good in sunset, doesn't it?
It does.
It looks sweet. You go up in all the different colors and that gold changes. Just come over here and give them a walk around. Look at how the gold changes. That's what I'm talking about. In the air, it's absolutely fantastic. When you unbox it in front of a camera, it looks like a 1970s square body pickup truck, which if you're into that sort of thing, you might love it. But as you roll around this plane, you're gonna see different angles. And that metallic gold paint actually looks totally stinking sweet.
Yeah.
Now, does it work with the red? I guess that's left to be up to each opinion.
I like a red plane though, so I guess.
Hold on, I have to show somebody something.
What?
So when I did that fast, high-speed pass, this thing goes, whoo! It was so cool. And I had no idea it was gonna happen, and it was awesome. So guys, we've done a number of flights, so I'm not gonna elaborate too much, but all I've got to say is, this plane is great. I'm gonna end up with about 30 seconds of additional flight time over my 3-minute flight timer. We're gonna have plenty of battery left in the pack, and that's why we can get away with pilot fatigue. Because if you don't have battery left in the tank, it's not gonna pilot fatigue for you.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for that, because when you're dealing with a Predator ESC, you're lucky to get thrust reverse. But yet, I'm gonna say it right now, knock on wood, we haven't had one time where it hasn't operated. So, short runway.
Yeah.
And taxiing to our feet with a 90mm EDF in near dead calm conditions.
Shocked.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you can bleed off the speed perfect. And guys, that's not a big hole.
No, it's not.
That is a very narrow opening. This opening is probably between tree edge to tree edge, you're probably 17 feet, 18 feet, if that.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, it tightens up.
And when I'm standing over here where I'm usually standing, there is no hole.
And this thing is rock solid on the ground.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you haven't already seen it, I'm just gonna pick up the plane and show you one more feature you may not have even known you needed, okay? Camera crew, in fact, I want you to hold this so I can hold it up and wiggle it, and then you're gonna be switching the gear, which is here,
okay?
So you see this, guys? That stabilizer on that, look how much it moves. Now look how much the rudder moves. It moves, but barely, okay? So now watch this. Stops, so it doesn't catch. Now watch this. Nothing, 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 nothing. There it goes. That's a 6-second deployment delay. Awesome. That costs you a channel though, guys. Okay? We're up to 20 channels on the NX10 that we've got to play with. This thing eats them all up on an AR 8360T, and you're gonna wanna set it up the way we did, guys. The thrust reverse eats up another channel. Then everything else in terms of gains and controls are set up at the top. And we go through everything, step by step by step. Goose.
We didn't use up all 20 channels.
No,
we
but
used up all 8
we used
pluggables.
up, we have 20 channels now on the NX10.
Yep.
We're gonna show you how to upgrade your existing NX10, NX8, NX6, NX7E, except the NX7E, I did hook up with a USB port, and I dragged the file from Spectrum. I dragged it into the root directory, power cycled it, and then it executed.
Yeah.
Really good, worked good. By the way, update took about 5 minutes, like 4.5, 3.5, depending on how many models you have in there. I have tons in there. I'm almost at the model limit, okay? So Avanti is gonna check all the boxes you've got. If I haven't answered it in this flight, we're gonna answer it later. And it was not dead calm. It was incredibly not calm. Confused winds, not so much. It was still pretty laminar, but there's a lot of thermal action. There's a lot of rotor from this tree line and that tree line. And this thing just did phenomenal. So I gotta say, I did shut it off and went to the off setting one time on my own when I was flying off camera, which we rarely fly off camera before you guys see it. I flew my first 2 flights on camera. Then I did 3 while my family was out taking care of family business. Then we flew 2 more back on camera for you. So total of 4 flights for you, 3 minutes each, plus a little overflow. We got plenty left in the tank, about 40 to 41% each time I throw them onto the smart charger.
Yep.
So that is a good amount of juice left in the tank. I don't recommend going any further, but this isn't puffing my pack either.
But you're using pilot fatigue every
time.
landing.
And pilot fatigue is like 115 or 120% of throttle.
Yeah.
In reverse.
Yep.
Okay, so it is extremely demanding of the packs. So, very happy with the plane. We had our initial complaints and concerns, mostly around FMS planning, less around the plane. The plane is awesome. Get one. Don't wait. If you do, you probably won't. Okay? Or you'll be waiting for some batch in some future arrangement. But this is an 18th anniversary because all I do is sit around and look for Chinese companies' anniversaries.
Well, and being a limited edition, we don't really know
how many they're going to make.
What that.
Or is it going to be a different livery?
They didn't do that with the Viper, though. It was only the 15th anniversary. There was
And I think you can still get it.
Yeah, in that livery, but they didn't make that a big limited edition thing.
Truth is, we don't know.
No.
They don't tell us.
Nope.
They don't ask.
Nope.
So it's like, don't ask, don't tell.
They don't care what we think either, so.
All right, Avanti S, get one. Links in the video description below. You'll like it. If you don't want that and you want something similar, you want to put it up against the Viper 90, which is amazing, excellent. I probably still slightly prefer it, but I like this a lot. If you already have the Viper and you want something to add to your repertoire, this is it right here, okay? If you can't afford the 90, the 70 is also phenomenal. It is a really good 70. And if you want something in the middle, the Futura 80 is an exceptional, really well done sport jet.
Or if you've had a couple Viper 90s and crashed them and then crashed a Futura in our yard and you're looking for a new sport jet.
If your name is Scott.
Here you go. Maybe you won't crash an Avanti.
Maybe not.
This might be your lucky ticket.
If you take it in upside down in the front yard, I'm just saying you have to buy it.
Yeah.
If you know who you are, put it in the comments. Anyway, Avanti, amazing. More to come. Stay tuned. If you want to see the Unbox Build radio setup, we are going to also break out, in addition to our full uninterrupted Unbox Build radio setup that does all the updates here, all the updates on the 8360T, all the way from 2.38 to 2.48 up to the 2.XX/3.XX conversion, all the way up to 3.13. We do all that. We'll show every step by step, until it's done, until it's flying. You guys there's no guesswork on Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna get you in the air, we're gonna get you flying. We can't promise you may not wanna modify a little bit from where we started. We're gonna promise to you, you're gonna be happy with at least as good as you saw on the channel, okay?
And we're going to get better with it as we go through. Just like AS3X and forward programming the first time, we did it the first time.
And we didn't do a very good job. We're gonna do better as we move forward, but we wanted to give people a basis from which to build on.
Yes.
And that's one of our principal purposes on Brian Phillips RC, is to get people out of the chair and into the air. And the way we do that is show you step-by-step instructions. You don't have to read a manual, you just watch a video and listen to us make jokes about decisions that Chinese companies make. And it's awesome. And by the way, if you don't want to burn up your servos, watch our videos. We'll help you. Because you could if you did it wrong. Evidently, that's a thing. So watch our build. We do have a problem on one of our servos. We do resolve it largely, and I think it flew pretty dang good.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with her settings. No elevator compensation, none.
That's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it, to be honest. It's just buttery and perfect. So guys, check it out. Right now available. And if you want to see the AS3X Plus upgrades only, we will break that out for those of you that want to set up a similar sport jet, but maybe not the Avanti. Just keep in mind, every plane has a little bit different stuff, and you're going to have to make the application to your own environment. And by the way, I might pick different channels if you have more channels to work with, or if you're using an NX8, you may have different slider choices and stuff. We didn't use sliders, but maybe you do. Okay, that's all we got for you today. Oh, the other thing is, I never did set up a trim. You can use a trimmer to trim your rudder. I turned trim on off camera, and I think I forgot to mention that. When I was in here playing with this, if you go into mixing, I have this mix. I turn trim active here. And so what's gonna happen is I have no clicks of trim on my rudder. So you can see right here, it's at 0. If I trim this, then that should also mix into the rudder on the aux 3, okay? So real quick demonstration, throttle cuts off. forward thrust. Okay, now I'm gonna trim it all the way the other way. So it was going pretty much straight. Now it should be going right. Yep, there we go. So as you can see, this trimmer is going to work for both the trim on the rudder and the trim on the nose gear now, since we have split that off and mixed it as part of our channel. And then of course the stabilizer, we did not use any heading hold, but we could have used a little bit of heading hold too, which will make it so that it holds still as you make corrections. I don't mind putting a little bit of left stick in or right stick to get it going straight and then just relaxing into it. This thing, second to none takeoff performance. The thing tracks straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Really great.
It's gonna be amazing on some planes that we've had a hard time with. I can think of F-18, 70, or is that an 80 millimeter? It's a singular 80 that's got twin ducted ducts. That plane was terrible to get down the runway straight.
Yes.
It would always tip on you. If you had this set up, it would be delicious. The F-16, same thing. I want that stabilizer keeping that nose wheel rock solid. And then maybe you could even do it on a crowned road like what we have to. So amazing. 2 thumbs up. This one's holding your transmitter though. So you got to get one. Check it out. Links are in the video description below. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see the unbox build radio setup, watch it now. These things are going to be hot off the presses. When you're seeing this video, don't wait to order, okay? If you want one, if you think you want one, get it today.
Yep.
All right, guys, if you want to support us in other ways, Patreon, PayPal monthly support, Patreon monthly support, PayPal one-time donations, YouTube super thanks, also one-time donations, and then, of course, YouTube members. So thank you for any of those you decide to do, but we think and firmly believe the best way to support Brian Phillips RC is buy a transmitter, buy a radio system, buy a receiver, buy a plane, buy a heli,
buy a battery.
Whatever it is that we're linking to, that gets some money into our pockets instead of going to the manufacturer's pockets, but then they're still making the sale, and so everybody likes that. It's a good deal for everybody. And that's how you keep this little RC ecosystem running. So thanks guys for being part of that. And thank you for helping to fund our channel here on Brian Phillips RC. We probably still wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't involved, because the truth is, it is overwhelming. It's a lot of work, but we love it. It's the work we want to do is to get people in the hobby, get them in the hobby for the right reasons at the right time so that they'll stay in the hobby and actually get some penetration, because without penetration, it's basically just a time suck and a money suck. Okay, if you do this for 2 planes and you quit, you are essentially a one and done. The industry needs people that are in it, and in it like more like we are than that. Okay. Yeah. So if you get 7 or 8 planes a year, you're going to keep this industry running.
Well, and we want people to get past the point of being
scared,
nervous and scared the first couple of planes, to the point where you can enjoy it and relax and come out and fly for an evening with your family or whatever.
And you won't believe it. You will eventually not think about what you're doing with your sticks. You'll think about certain maneuvers, but you're not going to think, you just fly. It's weird. You get to a certain point and that happens.
Maybe someday I will. Not.
The camera crew needs a little more exposure.
I'm busy over here.
Yeah. So guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for growing with us. Thanks for being part of this real world experience on Brian Phillips RC, because RC is a lifestyle and we're going to help make it yours. So stay tuned. More flights. Watch them now. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look what we got here. AS3X Plus. Oh yeah. And then the Avanti 90. This is going to be super fun. Can't wait to bring this to you. 18th anniversary. We've got this interesting choice of colors. And we have, for the first time ever, AS3X Plus installed, because I'm a lazy late adopter. Gear coming down. Oh yeah. Now watch this. Oh yeah, delayed nose gear action. Yes, we do have thrust reverse. Yes, I am excited to see this fly. 5,000, 6S. We are gonna have a pilot fatigue setting. I'm sure this thing is gonna get in the air quick. If you wanna see the full unbox build radio setup, should be published now. But remember, we broke out the chunk for the AS3X Plus, which includes updating servo or updating receivers and transmitters. So, controllable thrust reverse real quick. We also have a pilot fatigue. We're just gonna bring her into position. You ready for this? Take off flaps. Here we go. Oh man. Gear up, not one click of trim. So far seems pretty stable. The gold, red, and black look really good in the sky, actually. Man, it feels solid. Oh, yes! Camera crew hates blue skies, and I hate them for her. We have a timer set, but we also have telemetry going out and around.
Okay.
So far, the thing feels rock solid. Take off
Big.
flaps now. Inside. Because we can. Oh, yeah! Man, that gold looks good over there. Man, that thing sounds huge.
It does.
Man, it feels rock solid. Little bit of wing rock there. Oh man. Up against the blue, it looks really good. I must say, the AS3X Plus feels pretty dang good. Let's jank it. Oh yeah, janked it. That was 50% stick input. Take off flaps. Absolutely gorgeous. Hard on the throttle. Transition across the wings. Okay, bringing it around hard. High speed. Here's our warning. Jank it. Oh, yes.
What's your plan?
She is chiming like crazy right now, telling me the flight pack is disagreeing with my flying technique. Let's check the gear. Oh yeah, so sweet. We got 1 minute left on 3. Okay, let's try a landing here. Gear coming down. She's just making all sorts of grief for me. Oh yeah, I set up some huge landing flaps. You guys will be able to see them from the moon. Here they go. Wow. You know what's funny? I forgot to set up any elevator compensation.
Oh yeah.
And you know what's funny? I don't feel
didn't
anything. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're gonna try this. Take off flaps. That's our timer. Camera crew, you good?
Yeah, I'm right behind you.
Okay, full landing flaps. We're just gonna slow it down. We're gonna go through this hole here.
Okay.
Keep that nose down. Uneventful carrier landing at Brian Phillips
crazy.
RC. That has got to be the most uneventful maiden flight we've ever had with a big expensive jet.
That was really
Obviously, with those barn door flaps, I can't believe it, guys. You don't realize it probably if you haven't ever been here flying, but there's a hole in those trees. And I stuck it through that hole.
That's good.
And then I brought it over here. Didn't even have to touch on the runway. The struts worked perfectly. The transition was smooth. I can't believe how good that was.
Worked.
Oh, it's like all the things that you never expect to happen on a maiden happened. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take off those barn doors, go back to a clean flap. We're in reverse thrust. We'll just see how this thing does in the reversage. It's kind of funny because this plane handles so dang good. I didn't even give 1 click of trim the entire flight, folks. That should tell you something. And usually when you drive your planes, you drive them forward. Lots more efficiency, amazing performance. Super impressed with the AS3X Plus. I've got nothing bad to say about anything on this plane. Having flown it, look at the gorgeous way that the gold turns to orange. We were making fun of how it looked like a 70s pickup truck in our unbox. And now I am eating my words, and there's nothing I love better than when we're being negative, being proven wrong, because this plane is awesome. 50C pack, positioned perfectly. All you have to do is follow our unbox build radio setup. We did make our anti-collision beacons, top and bottom, flash. We only had one that was flashing and one that was solid on the bottom. I wanted them both to flash, but I don't want my nav lights to flash. And as you can see, it's very bright today. We have perfectly blue skies, which is terrible for filming, unless of course you have a really pretty plane. And I want you to see, as you change the angle, the metallic finish,
Yeah.
At first I thought that is one ugly trim livery, but just walk around it and look at the change in the gold. I gotta say, awesome look, okay? There is nothing I love more in RC influencing, or whatever it is you call what we do, than when I'm proven wrong by something that's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Also, I spent a good chunk of the evening updating a bunch of receivers. And so thank God the AS3X Plus was awesome.
That's good.
I didn't change one setting. And let's go over here in the shade so I can show you something. It's so bright, I don't want to have to fight this. Telemetry says 23.2, by the way, it's recovered. So what I want to do is I want to just click and scroll down to the flap system. Look at this, where is flaps? Where the heck is it? There it is. Look at that, guys, nothing. I didn't even set up flap compensation. That is crazy. I did not change one stick input. When I put those barn doors out, look at those things. They're like an entire wall that was built. You know, it's like you're finishing your basement. I just put another wall on my Avanti, okay? So, no, you don't have to put up such big flaps, but I gotta say this. The thing flew in like I deployed a parachute, and yet it kept flying perfectly.
Yeah.
And the attitude actually went down. That is so unusual.
I couldn't believe how much it slowed down.
So, all I've got to say is flawless performance. Did you notice how perfectly it tracked?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, guys. Having the higher gains. Oh, and by the way, just go ahead and show them the nose gear. Look at this. Look at that. Look how much movement there is. Now look at the rudder. You can barely tell there's movement. Now there is movement here, but it's inconsequential because the flight speed changes. When you take off and your flight controls go active, meaning you got enough airspeed to actually impact change and pivot the aircraft. Look, my gain is not even a half. So really what I need to do is I need to crank down my master gains on just the aileron axis because it was a little bit too much on the roll axis. In fact, why don't we try that real quick? Super impressed with this plane.
Yeah.
We were so ready to hate on it, and yet we didn't have to. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump into forward programming. Now you don't have to do this, it's just more of a touchy thing, okay? So gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains, and then I'm just gonna go to roll, and I'm gonna crank that down from 40 to about 35. Okay, that means that I can go just a little bit higher on the master gain. In fact, I wanna go down to 30. Okay, let's go back in and go to 30, okay? Now this is not necessarily gonna be true for every plane, but in my case, okay, so that's in flight mode 1, you'll notice. So I'm in AS3X, okay? Full disclosure, my scrolly wheel is starting to get dirty again. I have to clean this with alcohol once in a while if it starts jumping. Now in flight mode 2, there's none. And then in flight mode 3, it's back to the 40. That's probably a good idea because you're gonna tend to run a little bit less hard in AS3X. So I'm gonna go ahead and, or with safe rather. So I'm gonna crank that down to like 35, okay? So it's gonna give just a little bit more rock solid hold for those that need the auto leveling. Now we did set ours up with auto leveling, and admittedly, I didn't even turn it on. That's one of the biggest drawbacks on these planes, and we're gonna try to address that with a different type of battery. I really like smart technology, and I'll tell you the number one reason why I like smart technology, because I have a lot of batteries, and I don't like discharging them. I like using them, I like flying them, and then maybe leaving them discharged, but it just, I loathe the process of taking a battery that I spent money to charge to Mid-American Energy in our case, or Mother Nature, solar in our case. And then I took that and then I laid it on the counter, and then I had to physically, manually hook it up to a machine and discharge it for no apparent gain. That just drives me crazy.
Well, we have enough things to manage in our life.
Exactly.
Besides batteries.
But we have more batteries than the average person because we do this, you know, on YouTube. So the truth is, if I can have a smart battery that will at least take the manual part out, it's still wasting the energy by consuming it through heat, then that saves me one thing I have to worry about that I can just leave off the agenda, okay? Now, admittedly, the way I handle that is I usually charge my batteries and leave them in a more chemically dangerous state, a more reactive state by leaving them charged. Don't do that. It's more dangerous. It's also harder on the packs. The chemistry gets out of balance quicker. You'll have more saggy packs. You'll have more puff packs. It's just not a good idea. Use them after you've charged them is the best rule of thumb. If you only have 6 or 7 batteries, just charge 6 or 7, go to the flight field, use all 6 or 7. In our case, we might come out here and do 2 flights. So that's one of the reasons why I love, oh yeah, let's check the wind.
Yeah, I was gonna
say. We have
say.
a wind meter, guys. These people wanted us to review this wind meter from Top Tests, and I just noticed the wind. So I'm like, hey, you can see how fast it is. That's pretty sweet. Why do I like this thing? Because I don't have a stinking smartphone attached to it, okay? Min, max, I'm gonna go to max. Yes, you can do all sorts of units. You can do feet per minute. You can do feet per second. You can do meters per second. You can do kilometers an hour, and you can do knots, okay? And of course, it's gonna live update, okay? So we're going about 8, 8.5, was that about 9? And you can see we have a wind sock. Our wind indicators sometimes get tangled up, but more often than not, people, they want us to review these things so they can sell them, fine. If it helps sell some, great. If it helps meet our goals, great, even better. If you want to buy one, check it out, links in the video description below. I think it works pretty good. I like it because it's small. I like it because I can turn it off and I can put it in my pocket and forget about it. I don't have to have some smartphone app and then connect and turn on the Bluetooth and reconnect because it didn't connect. And they sell one like that if you really want that crap, but I don't like that. And by the way, I have one of these wind meters that plugged into a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Never used it. Not even once. I know exactly where it is. It's in this box I used to keep all my lipos in. And I never used it. So anyway, but yeah, Avanti, awesome. You know what else we could do? We could put the thrust tube. Oh yeah, let's do it.
What?
Let's measure the airspeed. That actually is a great idea. Okay, so we're gonna turn this on. We're gonna show you how many miles per hour this thing blows. We're gonna go to max. And the camera crew is gonna help me with this.
I get to hold it?
She gets to hold it over my thrust tube.
Oh.
You ready?
Hold on.
Okay, so remember guys, my battery might be dead. So this is gonna be super loud. Camera crew, you filming it?
I'm ready.
Put it right up in there. You ready?
Maybe I'll see. Okay.
I'm gonna just blow you for once. You ready?
All right.
Throttle cut.
It just says hi.
It says, you're dead.
Yeah. Don't fly.
Did we break it already? This is awesome. If you guys could only see the camera crew's shirt, it gave me a nice view. That was hilarious.
That was funny.
Okay, so anyway, guys, 23.1 recovery voltage. Can they see this? 23.1 volts, okay?
Yes, we can see that.
Now also, I just want to say full disclosure, one thing I'm going to say about AS3X Plus, the requirement to update to the latest and greatest technology, AKA version 4.0, I think is what they call this for firmware. And then 3.1.3 is actually not too bad on the receivers. You update to, in our case, we use an 8360T, and then we used, here, we'll pop the lid and show you this real quick. Use an 8360T. We put it up here. We had to carve a little bit out here just to make it clear all our wires. And then we did use a balance, or not the balance board, but we had to break out one servo wire for the steerable. Very easy. It took us like 3 seconds to figure out what it was. I did it like we were paused or something.
Yep.
So it's plugged in. We'll show you every step to set it up. The 5000 milliamp 6S was pretty much perfectly centered on the straps. How often does that happen, folks?
Hardly ever.
Almost never. And look how perfect this is, okay? What was I talking about?
Well, we were talking about the wires, but with the wires, I was gonna say, we talked about it in the unbox, but if people don't get that far, there is an unplugged wire in there that has to do with the thrust vectoring.
ESC. Well, it's the ESC has it.
Yeah.
It's a Futaba color code. It's red, white, and black.
But you didn't unplug it. Don't plug it in somewhere.
Yeah, don't plug it in. And then I had 2 plugs coming out of a little black controller that went to the flash sequencer for the top light or the bottom light. Ours had like the top was flashing and the bottom was solid, or vice versa. I can't even remember. It's not that big a deal. But I didn't want this thing dangling around with a positive and negative to go poke into something and cause a problem in flight. So I went ahead and decided, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off of that board and stick it into the dangler. Worked perfect.
Yep.
Now I have a flashing sequence and they're out of sequence. So it's like flash, 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 or something like that. So it's like flash, 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 which is pretty cool. So I really like that. Guys, I feel like this Avanti, this is one of these planes where just RC politics sometimes can be stupid. And you don't need to know about it if you're just watching this for an everyday enjoyment. When we do so much of this stuff, we put so much of our hearts and souls into it. There are times that we get pretty annoyed with these companies because the decisions that they make put us in positions that are really, how do you, I want to articulate this right. They can be quite frustrating, okay?
Yeah.
This was one of those times, okay? So here's the thing. It's still an awesome plane. And if you guys are wanting to order one, order it from our links. You'll help to reassure all these companies we work with that we're bringing them customers, and so we're a good investment. And the truth is, at the end of the day, I think FMS does a pretty good job on making planes. There's some things maybe they don't do so good at, and that's not uncommon in the China realm, okay?
Yeah.
But let's just be honest, guys. I don't care about their 18th anniversary. I don't think you probably do either, but I love this plane, okay? It's really good.
And if you've seen it already, which we know you have.
We know you have.
And it was out of stock. If you're watching this
video, order it now.
Yeah.
Don't
it should
wait.
be back in stock or coming back.
We don't do that. We don't try to bait people. That's not what we do on Brian Phillips RC.
No.
And we'll do probably a second thoughts when it comes back into stock if we hear word of it. But the truth is, if you're wanting an Avanti, don't wait. You won't get it.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
And we don't like that, but
No, we don't like being bearers of bad news,
No.
but we don't run these companies.
no, we don't.
And the idiotic decisions that they sometimes make reflects on us, and that's annoying.
And no one asked us.
And nobody asked us. And what we did suggest, they ignored.
Yeah.
So, awesome plane, built right, well engineered, except for the battery plug, which is super annoying. You'll understand when you get to it.
Build was super easy.
Build was so easy. Oh my goodness, if it weren't for the AS3X Plus Spectrum, please forgive us. We were pretty annoyed. I don't like updating a bunch of stuff. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
What?
So going to 3.1.3, if you're watching this in 2027, we keep our videos evergreen so you can watch them forever. That's why we have thousands of them out, okay? We had ours at 2.38. We updated to 2.48. Then we were allowed to update to version 2.XX to 3.XX, which is a conversion that allows you then to go to 3.1.3. You cannot go back.
Right.
If you're in the 2 versions, you can revert back to older firmware. Based on how well that went, why would you ever do anything else? I updated all the transmitters. I'm all in, okay?
Now do you have to apologize to all those people?
No, it's just, how do you articulate that something that's really good, that's worked well for a long time is not quite good enough?
Right.
Because now we have something better. It's so like abstract.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but man, that was so easy. I literally have 0 clicks of trim, none. And our flaps didn't even park all the way. Biggest problem with this plane, our flap on
this
wing
The left
would
wing.
not go all the way up. You'll see in the Unbox Build radio setup, it's about 95%, or excuse me, probably about 98% all the way parked, but I don't want to overdrive my servo and then have it fry.
Yeah.
We're gonna teach you how to not fry your servos, because that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We take it from the box into the air and many times into trees so that you know how to do what you need to do. If you're brand new to the hobby, this would be an absolutely terrible choice for you.
Yeah.
And yet, it's a pretty easy flying plane, because you saw that near perfect landing. I'm not a perfect pilot. I don't make perfect landings. And it's not calm.
And this is a tight area to fly.
And there's thermal action.
Yep.
And there's rotor. If you don't know what rotor is, it's when it goes over, the wind goes over the trees and it turbulates. All that stuff. Oh, it's so good. AS3X Plus really helped with that. Now, speaking of build, they didn't install the linkages. So annoying. How hard is it to put the stinking leakages on? And of course you hear me complaining about it. The factory should be doing it. There's no reason they couldn't get it in a box with those things on.
On the wings.
Zero excuses. Do it. Do it, FMS. Do it, E-Flight. Do it, whoever you are. Put the stinking control rods on. Don't make the customer do it. We're paying you to build it. Build it. I understand you got to separate the wings to fit it into the hole called a box. But if you can fit it in built, build it.
Yeah. Take
I don't
the
want to
ambiguity out.
I don't want to be liable for that.
Right.
Do it. You know what you're doing. Don't depend on the kid that spent his budget for like 6 months of working at McDonald's. Do it and have an accident, okay? You do it and do it right. Okay, rant over. Our complaints on models are minor. I feel like one of these auditors at these big companies that like comes through and it's like, oh, well, that guy's name is spelled wrong. It's like we're getting to the point now where we're really getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Because here 10 years ago, we wouldn't have got a plane half as good as this. And it probably would have cost just as much. And guys, inflation, yeah, it's happened, it's real. This plane is awesome. Camera crew, you wanna go to the left or the right so you can avoid your shadow? That thing is gorgeous. I really like it. The funny thing is in the sun, I love the gold. Coming out of the box, I'm like, what is this? Is this a square body truck from 70s? So I love being proven wrong. It makes me feel so good. It refreshes my spirits because this thing did way better than I thought it would do. Also AS3X. Oh, so updating. I was saying going from 2.38 on our AR 8360T, we went from 2.38 to 2.48. That allowed us to go to the conversion of 2.XX to 3.XX. Yep. That's one download. All of it gets done like bang, 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 bang. You just hook it up. And once you're like logged in on this little app, then it's just like bang, 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 bang. It'll take you about like 4 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
By the way, the update, once it was downloaded, our internet is not real fast. The update took about 4.5 minutes, even with probably darn near 250 models in our model memory. We have had other updates that take hours and then stall out and then don't work. This one worked.
You updated all the receivers and all of our transmitters in the time it took me to make dinner when we got done filming.
And we have 2 boxes of transmitters, guys.
It was not that big of a deal.
Probably 30
and
transmitters.
I was gonna say too, if you are sitting here going, wait, I wanna know about the AS3X Plus, but I'm not gonna buy this plane, I'm not ready for it, we're gonna split that out into its own video.
But we may end up having to put a couple clips of the flight. Right. You can find it, guys. It's always available. And if you're trying to find something and you can't find it because we have so many videos on Brian Phillips RC here on YouTube, you can go to bprc.me. That's our website. Or you can go to brianphillipsrc.com, but you have to spell my name right. So just do bprc.me, enter, boom, done. Put it in the browser. You're ready to go. You don't do control enter. You don't want to add the www. whatever slashes and HTTPs and all that stuff. Just do, that's our short domain. It's going to take you to the same place, exactly the same place. And that's our website, okay? We control that website. We own the domain for so long, okay? When you go there, you can sort by type and by affiliate. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where you can sort by other things too, like EDF size. You know, I don't know if we'll ever get so far as like colors and stuff like that, but we're probably going to be size class is going to be the next thing. Camera crew deals with that. One of the things that is so good about Brian Phillips RC, and I am so proud of it because I don't do it and I can be proud of it because it's not just all about me, is that Megan does that and she does a really good job of keeping stuff up to date. So if you see something on Brian Phillips RC, look at this. We have our next delivery coming. Just check it out, guys. If you want to support us, Patreon, PayPal, YouTube Super Thanks, YouTube members, and then of course, you can always go to Brian Phillips RC and find the next video. So stay tuned. They're literally delivering something right now.